The transformation of the deteriorating Commodore Hotel into the Grand Hyatt New York represents Donald Trump's first major business triumph and the foundation upon which his public persona was built. The project demonstrated both his ability to identify overlooked opportunities and his skill at leveraging government incentives, family connections, and media attention to achieve ambitious goals. The Commodore Hotel, located adjacent to Grand Central Terminal on East 42nd Street, had opened in 1919 as a prestigious accommodation for railroad travelers. However, by the mid-1970s, the hotel had fallen into severe decline, mirroring the broader economic malaise affecting New York City. The railroad company Penn Central, which owned the hotel, had declared bankruptcy in 1970, and the Commodore itself had become, in Trump's later description, so dingy it looked like a welfare hotel. The hotel was losing money rapidly, with occupancy rates falling to 33% and projected losses of $4.6 million annually. Trump's interest in the Commodore was sparked by his recognition of a fundamental contradiction. While the hotel itself was failing, thousands of well-dressed commuters passed by its doors every day as they traveled between Grand Central Terminal and the surrounding business district. As he would later write in The Art of the Deal, the city was on the verge of bankruptcy, but what I saw was a superb location. This ability to see potential in distressed assets would become a hallmark of Trump's business approach throughout his career. The project required Trump to navigate complex negotiations with multiple parties, including Penn Central, the bankrupt railroad company, Hyatt Corporation, his proposed hotel partner, and New York City government officials who had to approve both the sale and the substantial tax incentives that would make the project financially viable. Trump's approach demonstrated the influence peddling and deal-making skills he had learned from his father, combined with his own instinct for publicity and self-promotion. The financial structure of the Commodore deal revealed both Trump's ambition and his dependence on others for capital. Trump planned to purchase the hotel for $10 million and spend $70 million on renovations, but he lacked the personal resources for such an investment. He negotiated an arrangement where Hyatt would provide hotel management expertise and some financing, while Trump would handle the development and seek additional funding. Crucially, Trump secured a commitment from his father and the Bowery Savings Bank for $45 million in financing, with the Equitable Life Assurance Society providing an additional $35 million. Perhaps most importantly, Trump negotiated a 40-year tax abatement from New York City worth an estimated $160 million, a deal that was controversial even at the time. The abatement was justified by city officials as necessary to prevent the hotel from being demolished and to encourage private investment in a struggling area. However, critics argued that the city was subsidizing a project that would primarily benefit wealthy developers and hotel guests rather than addressing the needs of ordinary New Yorkers. The renovation of the Commodore into the Grand Hyatt demonstrated Trump's instinct for dramatic visual presentation. The most striking change was the installation of a reflective glass facade that wrapped around the entire building, creating what one observer called a mirror box. While architectural critics would later describe this design as an utter and inexcusable outrage to the cityscape, the gleaming surface served Trump's purpose of creating a building that demanded attention. The new facade became a symbol of the glitzy, wealth-focused culture that Trump would spend his career promoting. The Grand Hyatt reopened in 1980, just as New York City was beginning to recover from its fiscal crisis and the broader American economy was entering a period of growth that would define the 1980s. Trump's timing proved excellent. The hotel was able to charge premium rates, with some rooms renting for as much as $1,100 per night. The project's success provided Trump with several crucial assets, proof that he could complete complex Manhattan real estate deals, relationships with major financial institutions and hotel operators, and most importantly, media attention that established him as a rising figure in New York business circles. The Commodore project also established the template for Trump's future development strategy: identify distressed or undervalued assets in prime locations, negotiate government incentives and tax breaks, secure financing from others while minimizing his own capital investment, and create visually striking buildings that would generate media coverage and enhance his personal brand. This approach would guide his next and most famous project, Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. The construction of Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue represents the apotheosis of Donald Trump's early real estate career and the creation of the physical symbol that would define his brand for decades to come. More than just a real estate development, Trump Tower became a testament to Trump's understanding of luxury, marketing, and the power of strategic location in establishing lasting success. The site Trump selected for his signature building was occupied by the flagship store of Bonwit Teller, a prestigious department store chain located at the corner of Fifth Avenue and 56th Street. The location was strategically perfect, positioned in the heart of Midtown Manhattan's luxury shopping district, with maximum visibility and foot traffic from both residents and tourists. Acquiring the site required Trump to negotiate not only the purchase of the building but also the relocation of a major retail tenant, demonstrating the complex deal-making skills he had developed during the Commodore Hotel project. The design of Trump Tower reflected Trump's personal aesthetic and his understanding of what would appeal to wealthy buyers seeking both luxury and status. Working with architect Der Scut of Swank Hayden Connell Architects, Trump created a 58-story mixed-use building that combined retail space, offices, and residential condominiums in a single dramatic structure. The building's most striking feature was its atrium, which featured a 6-story waterfall, pink marble from Italy, and brass fixtures throughout, creating an atmosphere of opulent luxury that became synonymous with the Trump brand. The development of Trump Tower was marked by several controversies that foreshadowed the legal and ethical challenges that would follow Trump throughout his career. The most significant controversy involved the destruction of historically important Art Deco sculptures and decorative elements from the original Bonwit Teller building. Trump had initially promised to donate these artifacts to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, but ultimately ordered their destruction to avoid delays in construction. When questioned about this decision, Trump claimed the sculptures had no artistic merit, a statement that outraged preservationists and established his reputation for prioritizing financial considerations over cultural or historical values. Construction of Trump Tower also involved allegations of labor violations and the use of undocumented workers. Polish immigrants, dubbed Polish Brigade by workers, were employed to demolish the Bonwit-Teller building under conditions that violated labor laws, including working without proper safety equipment and being paid below minimum wage. Trump and his construction partners were later sued by the workers and ultimately reached a settlement, though Trump continued to deny wrongdoing. The financial structure of Trump Tower demonstrated Trump's increasing sophistication in real estate finance and his ability to minimize personal risk while maximizing potential returns. The project was developed in partnership with the Equitable Life Assurance Company, which provided significant financing in exchange for a long-term ground lease arrangement. Trump was able to secure this partnership largely because of his success with the Grand Hyatt project and his family's established reputation in New York real estate. The building's mixed-use design allowed Trump to generate multiple revenue streams while appealing to different market segments. The retail space attracted high-end retailers willing to pay premium rents for Fifth Avenue exposure, while the office floors provided steady rental income from business tenants. The residential condominiums represented the highest value component of the project, with units selling for between $600,000 and $12 million upon the building's opening in 1983. Trump's marketing of Trump Tower revealed his genius for self-promotion and brand building. He purchased full-page advertisements in multiple newspapers and magazines, hosted lavish opening events, and made himself available for media interviews that focused as much on his personal story as on the building itself. The grand opening of the atrium and retail spaces on February 14, 1983, was followed by the opening of offices and apartments later that year. The success of Trump Tower exceeded even Trump's optimistic projections. By August 1983, 85% of the residential units had been sold, generating $260 million in revenue that was used to pay off the construction loan. The building attracted high-profile tenants and residents, including celebrities, business leaders, and international investors who were drawn to both the luxury amenities and the prestige of a Trump address. The tower's success also established Trump Tower as his personal residence and the headquarters of the Trump Organization, making it the physical center of his business and personal empire. Perhaps most importantly, Trump Tower served as a powerful marketing tool for Trump's personal brand. The building's dramatic public spaces, luxury finishes, and prominent Trump signage created a physical manifestation of the wealth and success that Trump wanted to project. The tower became a tourist destination in its own right, with visitors coming specifically to see the famous atrium and to experience the Trump lifestyle. This transformation of a real estate development into a brand experience would become a model for Trump's future projects and a key component of his expansion into entertainment and politics. The completion of Trump Tower in 1983 marked the end of Trump's apprenticeship in Manhattan real estate and the beginning of his emergence as a major figure in American business and popular culture. The building provided him with the financial resources, credibility, and media platform necessary to pursue even more ambitious projects throughout the 1980s. Trump's expansion into Atlantic City's nascent casino industry in the early 1980s represented both the peak of his ambitions and the beginning of the financial troubles that would plague him throughout the following decade. The legalization of gambling in New Jersey in 1976 had transformed Atlantic City from a declining seaside resort into America's East Coast gambling capital, attracting entrepreneurs who saw enormous profit potential in bringing Las Vegas-style entertainment to the Northeast. Trump's entry into the casino business began with the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, which opened in 1984. Unlike his Manhattan real estate projects, where Trump typically minimized his personal financial exposure, the casino ventures required substantial upfront capital investment and ongoing operational funding. Trump financed these projects through a combination of high-yield bonds, bank loans, and limited personal investment, creating a highly leveraged financial structure that would prove unsustainable when casino revenues failed to meet projections. The Trump Taj Mahal, which Trump proclaimed would be the eighth wonder of the world, epitomized both his grandiose vision and his financial overreach. The project, which cost nearly $1 billion to complete, was originally begun by Resorts International but taken over by Trump when the original developer encountered financial difficulties. The Taj Mahal opened on April 2, 1990, featuring 1,250 rooms, a 120,000 square foot gambling hall with 3,000 slot machines and more than 160 gaming tables, and a 7,000-seat arena for boxing matches and concerts. The opening of the Taj Mahal was celebrated with typical Trump flair, including appearances by major celebrities such as Michael Jackson, who was at the peak of his fame. Trump's marketing emphasized the casino's unprecedented scale and luxury, positioning it as a destination that would attract high rollers from around the world. However, the project's massive debt burden, financed largely through junk bonds with interest rates near 14%, created financial obligations that proved impossible to meet once the initial novelty wore off. Trump's casino empire ultimately included 3 Atlantic City properties: Trump Plaza, Trump Castle, later Trump Marina, and the Trump Taj Mahal. However, the over-leveraged nature of these investments became apparent as early as 1990, when Trump's businesses faced severe cash shortages that prevented them from meeting interest payments on their substantial debt. The situation was so dire that several banks that had lent money to Trump were threatening foreclosure, which could have triggered a cascade of bankruptcies, including Trump's personal bankruptcy. The financial crisis of 1990 marked a turning point in Trump's business career and his relationship with both lenders and the media. To avoid personal bankruptcy, Trump negotiated a deal with his creditors that provided him with an additional $65 million in credit while requiring him to relinquish control over much of his business empire, at least temporarily. As the New York Times reported on June 27, 1990, Donald J. Trump averted a personal financial crisis yesterday by reaching a hard-fought agreement with bank creditors, but the developer, who once seemed invincible, paid a steep price. He has been forced to give up control over his multi-billion-dollar empire, at least temporarily, to the bankers who came to his rescue. The Trump Taj Mahal filed for bankruptcy on October 5, 1991, with Trump ultimately ceding 50% ownership to bondholders in exchange for reduced interest rates and extended payment terms. The Plaza and Castle casinos followed suit in 1992, along with several of Trump's other assets including the Plaza Hotel in Manhattan and the Trump Shuttle airline. These bankruptcies were structured under Chapter 11, which allowed the businesses to continue operating while debt was restructured, but they represented a humbling acknowledgement that Trump's expansion had been unsustainable. The casino bankruptcies revealed several important aspects of Trump's business philosophy that would persist throughout his career. First, he demonstrated a willingness to use bankruptcy laws strategically, later telling Newsweek in 2011, "I do play with the bankruptcy laws. They're very good for me." Second, he showed remarkable skill at shifting personal liability to creditors and investors while maintaining control over operations and branding. Third, he displayed an ability to weather public financial humiliation while maintaining the confident public persona that was central to his brand. The Atlantic City experience also highlighted Trump's pattern of overpromising and underdelivering on financial projections. Despite his claims of business genius, investigations revealed that most of the losses sustained by Trump's casino businesses resulted from poor management decisions rather than market conditions or tax strategies. The casinos were burdened with debt service that consumed most of their revenue, leaving insufficient capital for the maintenance and improvements necessary to compete effectively in an increasingly crowded market. By the mid-1990s, Trump had largely extricated himself from day-to-day casino operations, though he maintained licensing agreements that allowed his name to remain on the properties. The restructured companies continued to struggle with debt and market pressures, with Trump Entertainment Resorts filing for bankruptcy again in 2004 and 2009. The Trump Taj Mahal eventually closed in 2016 and was later reopened under different ownership as the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Atlantic City. The Atlantic City experience taught Trump valuable lessons about risk management and the importance of maintaining liquidity, lessons he would apply to his subsequent business ventures. However, it also established his reputation as someone who was willing to take enormous risks with other people's money while using legal mechanisms to protect his personal assets when those risks failed to pay off.